Have you ever walked away from a conversation replaying every word in your head, asking yourself, am I crazy? Did I read that wrong? Or are they actually trying to manipulate me? That feeling, that confusion between your intuition and your overthinking is exactly how manipulators win. They don't need to scream. They don't need to threaten. All they need to do is make you question your own reality, until you're no longer sure if the problem is them or you. Welcome to the Influencer Trap channel, where we expose hidden manipulation tactics and give you the tools to protect yourself. Today, we're going to break down one of the most painful struggles people face in relationships, at work, even with family. How to tell the difference between genuine manipulation and your own overthinking. And here's the truth. Most people get this wrong. They either dismiss real manipulation as just in my head, or they label normal disagreements as manipulation. Both mistakes can cost you relationships, peace of mind, and even your sense of self. But by the end of this video, you'll have clarity. You'll understand the subtle psychological red flags that reveal manipulation, and the mental traps that cause you to overthink. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. Let's start with why this confusion happens in the first place. Manipulation works best in the shadows. It's not always loud, obvious, or cruel. In fact, the most dangerous manipulations are quiet. A sigh, a dismissive look, a casual, "you're too sensitive." These small moments plant seeds of doubt in your mind. Over time, you begin to second-guess not just what they did, but your ability to judge reality. And that's exactly what overthinking feeds on. The manipulator creates the spark, and your brain turns it into a fire. Take this example. Imagine you bring up a concern to your partner. Maybe they've been distant lately. Instead of addressing your feelings, they respond with, "Wow, you're imagining things again. Notice what just happened." Instead of the conversation being about their behavior, it's suddenly about your perception. They've shifted the spotlight, and here's where the trap begins. You spend the next hours wondering, am I imagining things? Am I too sensitive? Maybe I'm the problem. That is not overthinking, that is manipulation designed to make you overthink. Now compare it to this. Let's say you tell your friend, "I felt hurt when you didn't include me last weekend," and they reply, "I'm sorry, I didn't realize. I'll make sure next time you're there." That's not manipulation, that's just conflict resolution. The difference is simple but powerful. Manipulation dismisses or distorts your reality, while healthy communication acknowledges it even if they don't fully agree. Another sign you're being manipulated is the pattern. One disagreement or misunderstanding doesn't mean manipulation. But if every single time you bring up an issue, you walk away feeling like the guilty one, that's no accident. That's a strategy. Manipulators are masters at flipping the script, turning themselves into the victim and you into the attacker. You say, "I feel like you've been distant," and suddenly you're defending yourself against accusations like, "Why are you always criticizing me? Why can't you just appreciate me?" You started by expressing a need, and now you're apologizing. That's not you overthinking, that's a carefully laid trap. But let's talk about the other side, because overthinking is real too. Sometimes our brain creates stories without evidence. You text someone, they don't reply for a few hours, and instantly your mind spirals. They're ignoring me, they don't care, they're probably talking to someone else. In reality, maybe they were just busy. This is where you need to separate evidence from assumption. Overthinking thrives on assumption, manipulation thrives on distortion. The key is asking, what's the pattern, what's the intention, and what's the evidence? Here's a step-by-step breakdown that will save you from both traps. First, look at the pattern. Does this person consistently dismiss your feelings, flip, blame, or make you doubt your memory? That's manipulation. Second, test the intention. Do they actually try to resolve things, or do they just try to win the argument? Manipulators don't care about solutions, they care about control. And third, check the evidence. Is your fear backed by repeated behavior, or is it just your anxiety filling in the blanks? When there's no consistent evidence, you might be overthinking. When there is a consistent pattern of dismissal, you're being manipulated. Let me give you another real-life example. A woman once told me her boyfriend would constantly accuse her of being too needy whenever she asked for quality time. But she noticed something when he needed her attention. She was expected to drop everything for him. That double standard is not overthinking, it's a manipulation tactic. He was using guilt to control how and when she could express her needs. Once she recognized the pattern, she stopped apologizing for wanting love, and that shift broke his control over her. On the other hand, I had a client who thought his best friend was ignoring him because his texts sometimes went unanswered. He built a whole story in his head, convinced the friendship was falling apart. But when he confronted him, the truth was simple. The friend was swamped with work. No malice, no manipulation, just life. Once he realized he was assuming the worst without evidence, the overthinking stopped. Here's what I want you to take away. Manipulation steals your power by making you doubt your truth. Overthinking steals your peace by making you live in imagined realities. The line between the two is thin, but it's there. If the other person constantly invalidates you, twists the narrative, or makes you feel guilty for expressing normal needs, you're being manipulated. If your fears have no consistent evidence and exist mostly in your head, you're overthinking. The hardest part. Manipulation often creates overthinking. That's why it feels so confusing. The manipulator knows if they can blur the line, they can keep you stuck apologizing, explaining, and questioning yourself forever. But once you learn to separate patterns from assumptions, distortion from evidence, you take back your clarity, and clarity is power. So the next time you find yourself asking, am I being manipulated or am I just overthinking? Pause, breathe, and ask 3 questions. What's the pattern? What's the intention? What's the evidence? Your gut will tell you more than your anxiety ever could if you learn to listen. If this opened your eyes, don't just scroll away. Someone in your circle is questioning their reality right now and needs to hear this. Hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe to the Influencer Trap for more deep dives into the hidden psychology of manipulation and self-protection. Because the first step to breaking free is seeing the trap for what it really is.